And we are back with some brilliant frugal living. And I was looking so forward to touching base on this subject matter. Where did I get this from? Rob Bailey Mulatto. And this article, and this actually has some great messages, but it made me grin to look at it. Woman quits job to live like a 1950s housewife. And everybody's going to start rolling their eyes. Oh my gosh, how backwards, how ridiculous. No. Take a deep breath. There's some deeper messages here, for better or for worse, and I really wanted to touch base on this to the point where I wanted to make this the focus of a particular segment. It's about this great family, Katrina Holt, I could be mispronouncing the name. She lives with her husband. They had 3 years of wonderful, happy marriage. They're thinking about starting a family, I would assume. And they were getting really stressed out by these two very high-stress jobs. And they put pen to paper, determined that they could, with a little bit of cutting back, starting in 2018, to kind of turn back time and live like a 1950s housewife. Now, this was clearly done to grab a couple of headlines, phrasing it like that. But there's a deeper message here. When you're living like the way households did back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, I might say as well, it was when you had a huge monster appreciation for what your partner did when you got up in the morning. Now, traditionally, you had the guy going off to work. You had the woman staying home, taking care of kids. And one of the things I love to bring up immediately at all times is the fact that, I had to make sure we put this in here, how much is a stay-at-home parent, traditionally a mom, but let's keep an open mind here. The latest survey, stay-at-home parents should earn on average, this is depending on a couple of kids, a whole bunch of kids, one kid, $162,000 in salary. Now, I love this because it's a government program. They research the heck out of this. They've got so many people on this. When they come up with these numbers, these are pretty accurate. So when you say that one person, be it the guy or the woman, is going to be staying home, there's something to be said for all of the incredible amounts of work it takes to have a well-running household. Now, by well-running household, you're talking about people who can go into a household and slash the cost of food while still skyrocketing the nutrition level compared to eating out versus eating in. I'm talking about people who can tutor the kids or who are raising the kids. Put a price tag on that. When you've got a new kid in the house, you've got a lot of people out there thinking, okay, do I want to work outside the house? Do I want to have a gig in the house? So I'd like to hybrid this conversation just a bit and start looking at the money saved when you've got one person either staying at home and making their stay-at-home parent job, that one worth $160K, but they're getting paid nothing. Try that on for size. But I also want to broaden this conversation to something that worked flawlessly in our house, and that is the work from home parent, okay? There's pros and cons to this, but the pros in our house have hugely outweighed it. I am in studio recording this show one day a week, one morning a week. Dad comes in, we do the dad and daughter talk real estate. The rest of the time I'm at home, and I really love it. I got to be honest with you. I was in the corporate arena for over a decade before Victor and I started a family. I loved that too, but there were costs involved. And especially when we brought home kids from the hospital, I switched into a rather loud gear in which it didn't quite jive for me to leave the kids with someone else to raise. A lot of people do that beautifully, flawlessly, happy ending for all, happy kids, happy parents, happy house. I was not one of those people. And I got a little bit, mama bear when it came to the idea of working outside the home from there. So Victor and I, with his huge input, the man's a saint, he gets to put the pedal to the metal with regards to putting it full throttle in his workforce, in his work, in his career. He never has to worry about being home with a sick child. I'll be home with any kids that are sick. He doesn't have to worry about traveling. I will be home. It doesn't matter if he has to travel, come back. It was a huge benefit to him as well as to me, mentally, physically, because I would have been a wreck if I wasn't around them, and financially, which is everybody's biggest fear. If I leave the workforce, if I leave corporate America, if I leave working somewhere else, I have to put my kids in some sort of a daycare and work somewhere else in order to pay for it and pay for my life and stay current. Really not the case. And a lot of recent studies are starting to bear that out. So if you've got a dad who's stressing out at the thought of putting the kid in some sort of a beautiful, well put together daycare, respect it. If you've got a mom who's really kind of freaking out at the idea of letting someone else taking care of her kid, Respect it. Listen to your inner voice. We have never lived in a better day and time to embrace a stay-at-home working gig. Not only for the 160 grand worth of work you're getting out of a stay-at-home parent, but also for the opportunities that stay-at-home parent, be it dad or mom, can then embrace and make some really substantial cash working from home. Now, there are some downsides. I will not lie to you about this. The downside is when I am working from home, and sometimes I'll be up at 4 working on some voiceover work or getting some stuff done, or even just folding laundry with a nice cup of coffee, getting caught up on the news. Sleep is a secondary issue. You're taking care of your $160,000 worth of jobs that you have in the home, as well as trying to bring in some side hustles. But all kidding aside, I'm here to tell you that the ripple effects and the positive effects of having a work from home or stay-at-home parent far, far eclipse any sort of downside. There was a cut in cash. I'm the first to say it. However, when you start embracing some side hustles, take a look at Fiverr, take a look at some online opportunities and the want ads, everything else. This current economy is on fire, looking for competent, capable people just like you, and they're willing to work with you on some sort of a work from home gig if you want to. Don't be shy about staying at home to raise kids, maybe to help with grandkids, maybe if it's the dad, the mom, whoever, because all of these various, and I love this, I go back to this article where this wonderful young lady decided to cut out this job. And I think she was, I'm guessing, paid, mid-5 figures. And instead now she has a home that's calm and impeccable. And she does a lot of sewing on the side, much more sophisticated sewing than I'll ever do. I did some home decor stuff, but nothing like compared to the clothes that she does. But a message here, using your talents to save some huge money at home, using your talents to create a calm home in which your spouse, be it your wife or your husband, can then go out and work like dogs because they don't have to worry about anything in the house. That's already taken care of. You don't have a home. I'm kind of going off in all directions here, but stay with me. There's a point. You don't have a home if you don't have a homemaker. It's as simple as that. You've got a building stuffed with people and maybe some food in the shelves, but if you don't have a home, if you don't have a homemaker creating a home, whether it's dad or mom or whoever, there's going to be some downsides to that when it comes to stress and when it comes to a lack of time to spend together. And it boils down, this segment's just stuffed with cliches. I acknowledge that right now. But nobody ever went to their maker saying, I really wish I spent more time at work. I really wish I would have cut out some of that time with the kids. Boy, was that a waste of time. Said no one ever. Think long and hard about the hard work that you do right now. Do you want it to translate into a better life for your family? Do you want it to translate into a less stressful life for your family? I connect with a lot of parents, dads, moms, and they acknowledge that the ever-living quest for money to spend on dinners out, on movies out, on more expensive clothes and shoes and bags and vacations and cars, it's causing stress. And throttling back on that spending and instead spending your hard-earned money on paying off debt is having a huge ripple effect, including having people being able to stay at home to take care of not only kids, but maybe elder parents, whatever going on in the house. It's tremendous. It saves people money in the long run, time, sanity, health. Put a price tag on that. So let's start thinking a little old school, like this young couple did, and think about what your lifestyle would be like if you had the debt paid off to where someone could work from home, or better yet, make their $160,000 in yearly effort towards the household their job. How would the stress levels respond in your household if you had one person taking care of everything in the house and the other person taking care of everything with the salary? It was their job to go out and earn some cash, and it was the person at home's job to make sure it was managed effectively. Do you want to know how many people I've connected with? I can't tell you how many people I've connected with. Started off as 2-income earners, strong, hard, educated, well doing it, getting it done earners. And by the time they realized the money and the stress and the savings in sanity and sleep and everything else, when they had one person working outside the home and another person working in the home as a professional homemaker with a little something extra on the side, the ripple effects are incredible. And I want to hear from you guys as well. I can't be alone with this stuff. I'm surrounded by paper of people telling me how much this works for them. Listen to your inner voice. when it comes to spending. Forget listening to the commercials out there, everything else. You don't need to spend something on this immediately and have it ripple effect interest where you're going to be paying 10 times more by the time you pay it off. Think about paying off all of that debt, the rosy to your cheeks when you have no debt, the way that you would feel if you knew you were on a lightning path to pay off your house or to buy a house. All of the financial freedom that you deserve in your hands because your debt is paid off thanks to a simpler, yes, 50s lifestyle. How would that work? We're talking about in this day and age, there's this huge backlash. I might go over time here. There's this huge backlash about living 50s style. It was so degrading to women, degrading to men. Men can raise kids and women can earn. All true. But when you try to have both partners doing everything at the exact same time, you got chaos and exhaustion and overspending. Food for thought. More after this.